Hey guys, welcome to Comfy Cozy Up. So I'm here to talk about April. So let's talk first about my journal challenge that I did. Thank you so much to anybody that participated. I look forward to it every couple of months when I do it. The discussion in Zoom is always amazing. Look forward to more. I also did 4 outfits, and one of them happened to not be for me, with my mother. So I actually like the fact that I was able to make her something, and it gets me to practice more and to do more. I'm wearing one of them, and we'll see how it looks on camera because I can't. I can't really tell. But I also read 10 books, and one of them definitely is a favorite of the year so far for me, and a few very much entertaining that I can laugh about, and of course some romance because that's the mood I was in. So total of 10 books, can't complain at all. So let's start with The House of Eve by Sadika Johnson. This is the author of Yellow Wife, and I love that book the year it came out. It was one of my favorite books that year. And what I liked about this is how she tells a story that is a historical fiction that follows two women of different background, and you don't know how they connect or why they're even a connection to them, but the story is written where you're getting two different tales. You learn about one young woman who is a teenager and had this amazing opportunity that she can get the scholarship to go to college, and then you have another one who is already in college and her parents sacrificing everything that she can be there, and both are now somewhat got involved with a man, and you get to see how things change for them. It is a time period that when things happen, how it affects women, but it's also a time period that, because I've read so many books about that, I knew a lot about those kind of events that happen, that some of this was predictable for me, where I saw it happening. I was like, yeah, that's gonna happen. That kind of reaction I had. Nevertheless, because she knows how to write a story, you still want to see how it's gonna unfold in her rendition of something that I've ultimately read before in terms of other books. I enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting. I thought the book characters were very lovable. You felt sorry for them in some ways, but then you also rooting for them, and you see the sacrifice that they had to in order for them to obtain their goals. And there's certain levels of have and have not, and the generational struggles, and when that person can see themselves out of it, what are they willing to do, and how much of themselves are they going to sacrifice to have that happen. So I enjoy this. I think this is going to be a great book club kind of book, because you can really have some interesting discussion on it. So anybody that's picking this, it's a good one. Then we have Decent People, which is a murder mystery. This is Deshaun Charles Winslow. Oh yeah, I was into this. Now this is a follow-up to the book in the West Mill, but it is not similar in terms of how the story is told. This is a murder mystery, so it is crime happened, 3 people got killed, and everybody's somewhat of a suspect. But this is a town that is plagued with racism, so they don't want to really investigate these black people that got killed. So there's all these stories that the detectives are coming up with. But there's one meddling woman that is like, nope, she's not going to have it go down like that. So she started snooping, asking questions. So you're learning so much about people's interaction and things that were happening between them and the people that were killed. I was in it. Did not guess the murder at all. That was definitely a surprise for me. Not shocking in terms of who, but the surprise that I didn't really think of that person would have been the one to do it. So I liked it, but you gotta wait till the end to know. He really put you on that, but it's short, so it's a page turner. You will fly through this. This is one of those books you just have a weekend and you just sit there and read, and you would just finish it off just like that. Then my favorite book of the month, and one of my favorite books for the year so far, is called Hold You Down, and this is Tracy Brown. This is one of the most emotional read I've had in such a long time, where I am crying. At least the last 100 page I am in tears, because I am so brokenhearted over the situation. We have two sisters who their mother had something happen, and their mother just was never recovered from it, so she was never there. She was very much, they were raised by their grandmother. And it started out where you at the mother's funeral, and you get to know the sisters in terms of what they wanted, what they desire, and how they feel about being in a poverty state and growing up with nothing. You have one sister who's very ambitious. She wants to have her own restaurant. She's a very good cook, but she also know, life is not going to pan out the way she wants, and but she's going to do what she has to do and work and do what she has to do to take care of her son. Both have a son, and then the other sister is the one that is gonna break the rules and do what she wants, and any means necessary to get that coin. This becomes interesting because this is written in the time of the 80s, the early 80s, and into the 90s. This is the early real, what you call, the epidemic of crack in New York City, and it's really focused more on Harlem and Staten Island. And in this, you get to see the naive how some people got involved, but also you get to see the how it can destroy families in different ways. Now, it doesn't really circle around that event per se, so this is not a book about that per se. It's more about family and how family are coping with tragedy, how family cope with grief, and how it can really destroy people. You get to see motherhood and how so much mothers in this situation, how they are so focused on their children that they are not even living. In essence, they're living just for their kids. And you also get to see how life is so unfair, and how you can do everything right, and that split second something happens that can destroy your dreams and destroy something that you work hard for. I was so devastated. I was so upset. There's moments where I felt like I wanted to hug one of the character, just hold the character, because of the pain you can feel on the pages of what was happening. I will say, I think this book is not it's marketed in a way that I think some people will, just by looking at the cover, would not necessarily think they would pick it up, because the cover looks a little bit more, I think, contemporary more. But it's really an emotional literary book, and I think I want more people to read it, and I want more people to talk about it, because I think she did an amazing job with this story. And it's also because it is such a realistic story, because I can imagine how many mothers can relate to this storyline, that I think that's why it was such an emotional read, because you just think of people who are in such a dire situation, and life happen, and how do you pick the pieces up and live, and you get to see that in this book. Then I had to get into the classic, which was a recommendation from one subscriber, and that is Cousin Bette, and this is Honoré Balzac. Pure entertainment. This is what you call, I would say, soap opera of the classic era. It is what you call a revenge, but revenge in a way that you are rooting for the person. Revenge in a way that, who is really the enemy here? Who's really the bad people, the bad guy, the bad woman in it? You're thinking over this. Cousin Bette is that woman who is going to go against everything that is supposed to be normal. So if you give her an outfit, she's going to change it. If you do anything that is just this way, she's going to probably go the opposite way. And it's because of the things that had happened to her, and how she was treated by her family, and the expectation, and the things that she experienced. And then it became an issue when this one man that she had this that made her feel a certain way, and and ideally she's not that kind of woman that a man will go for that kind of deal. But the family knew, and they went behind her back and arranged that he will be with another family member, that kind of deal. So she was upset, very much hurt by it, and she was out for blood. And she did it in a way that when you realize the people who you consider your enemies flaws, and you have the ability to use their own flaws against them, you're gonna do it. That's what she did. And she ends up getting a woman who is like very seductive. They have like 3 men trying to be with her, and she knows it, and she's gonna use it to her advantage. And these men are trash. These men are not, especially one of them who's very much married and is just gonna let the family go broke over her. Trash. Let me tell you, I laughed. This book was making me laugh. This book was one of those memorable classics that I'm like, I just know that when it came out, there gotta be some people that was putting this, probably one of the books they probably would want to ban because of the things. But then religion became a topic in this book, and I was like, what? Why? Huh? Like, I explained so much more in my review. Go watch that video. But what I would say is, it is a classic, and don't be fooled by the size of this book. This book was rammed, and the font was tiny, but this is a 500 and something page book that they cram in this revision. So don't get this revision. Avoid this revision if you must, because it is tiny, and I am a glasses girl, and I was like, yeah, getting through it. And then I realized I could get the Kindle edition, so I read half of this in the Kindle edition once I realized there was one that I can get, and it was like a 99 cents. I think that's the price of it. But I would love to get a better edition of this, because I love this. This was pure trashy, messy entertainment, and I love it for a classic. So let's go on now to romance. So romance was interesting for me because I read a lot of series. I don't know how that happened, but I went down that rabbit hole of reading series. And so before that, let me start with the one that I didn't finish. Well, 2 didn't finish, but this one is Room Service. Rochelle Alters. This one is a second chance. This is when you have grown. They're in their early 40s kind of deal. They don't live their life. They don't been married. They don't have broken heart. They don't have financial issues. They start over. That's it. But it is very a southern charm. They meet in another city and then went to New Orleans, that kind of deal. But this is where you have a woman who had a very messy divorce. The husband cheated and had a child with another woman, and in turn decided that he doesn't want any more kids, so he fixed himself and never told the wife. So years of being and years of wondering why she was never get pregnant, and later on finding out the reason. And of course she's also a successful interior designer, so that was her passion, and he at one point later on helped her run it. But of course with messy divorce, you have to give up, and she sold that business, but he was only being able to get a fraction of what he wanted. Thank God for that. But it was where now she kind of gave up that passion she had, and she was just having this regular job that had to do with nothing she was passionate about. And here comes this man who kind of give her something to interest her, something that sparks her attention, the most she's ever had in a very long time since her divorce. And it sparked her wanting to see what's out there. So she went to New Orleans with him and get to see his life and his circle and what he does, and getting her passion back to wanting to be that interior designer and working on a project that makes her interested in that again. You get to see the chemistry and how romance happened. This is a grown and sexy romance. This is not that romance that is just going to be the quick getting to bed, that sexual attraction where it's just like bam bam bam. This is not that kind of romance. I think this is a romance that for people who don't like those kind of book would appreciate this, because there are some smut, but the smut happens way later when they really like get, and even the smut to me wasn't that X-rated as some of the other books that I would talk about. But I enjoy this. I will read other books in the series. They're standalone, so you don't have to read them together, which was what I did, which was because there's nothing, I don't know if there's any connection to anyone else, to be honest with you. But I do like this, so definitely suggest Room Service. And this is another one of them that you see in Walmart. Even, and the Hold You Down. The Hold You Down too was I walked in Walmart and saw this. So again, Walmart's been coming out with books which surprised me that I don't see everywhere else. So that's a good thing. So let me pick out my my reading journal. So let's talk about so we're gonna start with Restore Me. And this one you have the way this book started. It started where this is a woman who's working for a development, and she is those are the same business as the other one. Designer, interior. So anyway, so she is a widow, and she's been a widow for about 4 years now. Haven't dated or anything, and here comes her deceased husband, best friend, showing up at her job, and she has to work with him. They have a very hate relationship beyond that. There's no love there. They really dislike each other, but you realize not why they disliked each other, but more so why he disliked her within the story. So the way the story is set up, you get this impression that, okay, there are supposed to be somewhat of a forbidden love, or as well as a second chance, because that was his best friend's wife. And, but at the same time, there's that feeling that was attached to that. It's set up where you expected the reaction from everyone when they find out, because they're sneaking around, they're actually dating each other, and there's a lot of smut going on with them. So you expected a reaction, and the reaction to me is what made the story like, what? Like, I felt like I read the longest book of my life and gotten not much, when this could have easily cut out 150, 250 pages. This was a long book. But I guess the author likes to write long, but for this, it was just, you build me up, but no one cared that they were together. No one, as long as they weren't messing around when she was married, when the husband was alive, no one cared. So it was like, you set me up to think that this was going to be a big old woo, it wasn't. Nevertheless, I was like, you know what? I like the friend in this. The sister, the twin sister of the deceased husband. I really liked her. So when I realized they were going to have a part 2, I said, I have to read it. Now this is where the author impressed me. This is where I'm like, oh, I like this author now. And in the second book, you have Chris and Mallory. I love them together. But it follows, in the first book, you get to a teaser of both of them, because Chris showed up at some point. But in book 2, you get to go back to what happened to them, what separated them. And the storyline was also good. It was also good. It dealt with so much of college life and things that happened, and how his family was this wealthy family, and the expectation, and who they wanted him to marry and be with, and how they used certain things against her in this to separate them. And of course, she doesn't know a lot of things, but the way the book ends, I'm like, wow. It ends on a cliffhanger. And had I known, I would have waited, because there's nothing. She keep teasing about part 3, but I need a book now. I need a book now. That's how much I love this part 2 I need part 3 now. I need it. I need to know what happened with Chris. I need to know what his life was looking like. Mallory, not so much, but I need to know what Chris' life was looking like. I want to know all of that, and it's like I gotta wait. And I hate cliffhanger books for that reason, which is why I'm a person like I like to wait till the book is almost ready to come out before I read like all of them. But you will hear more once the second book comes, the third book comes out in the series. But I was like, yes. Then the last series that I got in is 3 books, and these were not that long. Whew, thank God. And then you have Brothers, the Loop Brothers. Now, I never heard about this, and I was just like, oh, I feel like once I started reading books that had series, all the series were popping up, because now I have a whole bunch of them that's popping up on my Kindle to read. I love series with brothers. You know, you got Alexander House, you know I love my set, my shoe, my Raja. You know, so of course I was like, the Little Brothers, really? Oh, you know, but we're gonna try a different author, because you know I'm hooked on Alexander House, because you know the McLean brothers too are awesome. Or Tina Turner. Tina Martin. What? Tina Martin series with those family. I'm here for it. So this is K.C. Mills, and this is the first one I read was Unexpected Expectations, sorry. And this is a Love and Tear. And I knew once it started out, when you got a very muscular black man on a bike, I knew it was going to be sexy. I was like, oh, this is going to be sexy. And was it sexy? Hell yeah. And this is the brother who's more serious. He's not a smile person. He just looks very intimidated. He just not like that warm personality. But he's a tattoo artist, has that edge to him. And here comes Tear. Now, she is that girl that was having a good time. She was very much, you know, if she wanted, she gonna do it. And then she decided, okay, I'm done having a good time. I want to settle down now. But here comes this guy who not fitting the image of who she thought she would wanted to settle down with. Things happen. So you get to see how these two fall in love. You get to see the little passion, the smut. You get to see how protective he is. Love was just, I was here for it. I was here for it. Then we had Unexpected Second Chances. And this one I thought was probably the most emotional, because you have the brother. Ebo is that man that just came out of a messy divorce. A messy divorce, a woman who married him for what he has. He's a lawyer. He's that brother that's trying to protect his other 2 brothers. And he is, you know, a hard-working man, but he looked like $sign to this woman, and very much broke his heart, because she was just never in it for the love. And he of course, out there now, single, doing him. And here comes this struggling mother with her son. And things happen where you like, oh, he's helping her. He's looking at her in such a way that there was an immediate connection, but loving on her son. And you get to see how that happened, why it happened. It's interesting how it happened, but it's romance. You know, there's a little fairy tale aspect to it, because that's what this was. How realistic this was, I don't know. The storyline, not so much of a man helping a woman struggling, but just how was a little bit it's a fairy tale. But I loved it. I love Ebo. I just love how, you know, he don't play about his woman. And I love the family dynamic, because ultimately he got a family. It was a ready-made family, but he got a family, that kind of deal. And then the last one, Unexpected Challenges. And this one I like because you have the woman who is the business. She owned a very lucrative business. She's very well known in Forbes magazine. She is the woman with the money, bling bling, but she's also don't have a family. It's just her. So she's not looking at life outside of being a businesswoman. And not even in a way where she's even dating seriously or doing anything. She's just working and that's it. And here comes this man, the younger brother, who is Lennox, and he is just wild, irresponsible. His brothers are always bailing him out or something. But he's starting to grow up. He's starting to realize what he wants to do. And then he caught the eye of this woman while he's on a date. So, and that woman now becomes his obsession. He wants to know who she is and get to know her. And you see how it happened. But they needed each other. There's like a balance between them, like where you have, he has a little bit of edge and wild side, and she need a little bit of wild side. You know, but you see how the chemistry between them, and she's about 3 years older than him, so she's not that much older. But she's a little bit more stable in terms of what she wanted in life and things she's done. And you get to see how they interact with each other. I love this. I thought this series was really, really short and sweet. I enjoyed the storyline. It wasn't too long. It gives you what you needed, what you wanted in a romance series like this. I love the brothers. I love the bond that they have with each other, and how they take care of each other even if the person is, you know, does some stupid mess. They're gonna be there for each other. And the personalities are so different, but at the same time, when they're all together, there's that bond that you can really appreciate in this kind of romance. And the women that comes in their life and how they treat their women. So I was here for this. This is definitely, Lou Brother got a very thumbs up for me. I enjoyed. And this is it. This is all the books that I read. And I'm looking forward to doing some more classic, add some romance. And yeah, and some other books that if you haven't seen, I did my TBR, which was before this video. Go check it out so you can see what books I'm going to be focusing on in May. And of course, other projects that I'm doing. So let me know what is your favorite book that you've read and in April, and let me know if it's really good and you want me to add it to my jar, because I'm, you know, you guys have been recommending some good book. I did 4 books so far and I loved it. So you guys are definitely giving me the good stuff, so keep them coming. I already selected the book for in May. You see that in the video as well that I did earlier, the TBR video. And yeah, that's it, guys. I'm excited to keep on reading and keep on sewing and enjoying this good weather. Let me know what are some of the fun things that you've been doing for spring, or things that you're looking forward to doing. And also, what kind of things you want me to do in some videos. I'm thinking of doing some more springy stuff, some more DIY stuff that's a little different outside of what I've been doing. But yeah, give me some ideas, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.